question is for Eli. Did you actually ever get hurt while fighting?
So, no, I didn't get hurt while fighting, but some of those days when I was on set, I would go like no food the whole day because I was like trying to stay in, Mad Dog shape.
Trying to look good.
So that was probably the most pain I felt, was just being really, really hungry.
You pointing at me?
Hi, what was your most awkward moment on set?
Who's that for?
Both of y'all.
Was? Awkward moment on set? Oh man, I don't know. Probably the most awkward moment for me was we have this game that we play on set called What Are the Odds? And I don't know if you guys know this game. It's like basically how it goes is what are the odds that you like jump up and down like a crazy person, and then you go, and then the person that they're asking goes 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, and then you both go 3, 2, 1, and say a number at the same time. If you both say the same number, then the person has to do it. But if you don't say the same number, then the person doesn't have to do it. So like one day I think it's either Cole or Drew. Either Cole or Drew had asked me to, they were like, would you rather, what are the odds that you lick this couch? And it's this like dirty couch that we have, the Southside Serpent couch in like the Serpent tent, in like Tent City. And I was like, 1 in 5. And we both went 3, 2, 1, and we both said the same number, and so I had to like lick this nasty couch, and it was very embarrassing.
Most awkward moment, I mean, I can't top that. I think the most awkward moment for me was when I met Molly Ringwald. I was like, I'm a super fan of like all her movies from the 80s, and like, and at first I didn't recognize her. Like I walked in and I just came out of a scene, so I walked in, I was kind of not paying attention, and KJ was there, and I was like, hey KJ, what are we doing this scene? And I looked, and I was like, oh! Like it just threw me off, and I tried to be cool, so I was like, I'm Eli, and then she was like, I'm Molly, and in my head I'm like, I know. But I pretended I didn't recognize her, because I guess that's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, so that was probably my most awkward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is for Jordan. Do you have any connections to Sweet Pea in real life?
Do I have any connections to Sweet Pea in real life? Well, I think when I got the role of Sweet Pea, I'm not a gangster. I'm not in a gang. I don't carry around a switchblade. I don't fight people on the daily. But I think when I first got Sweet Pea, I really related to like his loyalty and to he's kind of like ride or die for his family. Like he'll go full out for his family, and I think I really like that. And also I kind of really related to like the underdog kind of vibe that Sweet Pea has, that he's from like, didn't get everything growing up and stuff like that, so I really related to that, so yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for both of y'all. So for Jordan, is it fun playing a serpent? And then for Eli, is it fun working with KJ Appa?
I'll take that one first, yeah. Oh man, KJ, this guy, man, he's the best. He is honestly just like such a solid guy. I've worked with a lot of people, and it's funny because I worked with The Rock on another show, and when I met KJ, the first thing he said to me was like, "Oh man, I heard you work with The Rock," because he's like I guess they have a similar Samoan background. Yeah, so he's like a huge Rock fan, and then from then like we're literally like brothers. Like he's always getting on me about anything and everything. He's such a practical joker. Like a few times, like when I was training and stuff like that, I'd have to like eat like huge meals because you only get like 1 meal a day or something like that. And he would just tear into me like, oh man, look at you, you're getting so fat, bro. And like, he's like, why don't you do a few more push-ups? Like, but he's hilarious. I love that guy.
And for me, being a serpent, I'd have to say it's probably like my favorite role that I've ever played so far. I mean, it's fun because in a lot of ways that I relate to Sweet Pea, he's like completely opposite from me. Like, he gets to fight people all the time, which I never do. He like lives in a tent. Like, it's a lot going on for him, and I think it's fun to be like a little bit different than. It's fun to play a character that's different than who you are, and so I love being a serpent.
Thank you.
How did you guys get into acting?
Yeah, I'll tell you, my neck's gonna get sore, like. So I got into acting, I was acting since I was, probably since I was like 13, doing like school plays and stuff like that, never anything really serious. And then I actually kind of quit acting after high school because I got a football scholarship to play football. And then I think it was, my second year of football, I was a wide receiver. And I got tackled from behind and actually snapped I got my shin snapped in half. So yeah, I got hit from behind. There's this big crack that echoed through, and everyone did that sound in the stadium. They're like, ooh! And then after that, I tried to get back into football, couldn't really do it, just because you have like a fear now that you're gonna get injured. And so I kind of left football and was like, I really want to focus on acting. I loved it so much in high school. And then so my first thing that I ever did was a stunt. I did like football stunts, oddly enough, on a TV show called Hellcats, which is like another CW show. I did football stunts, so that was like getting tackled or like throwing a football. And I did that, and I like really loved set and like how that was. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this seriously. So I ended up going to theater school. For like 5 years, I trained at theater, and then just did auditions and started working here and there, and then Riverdale came along. That's how it went.
That's awesome. I was actually interested in that too, because I always love hearing like different stories.
Oh, totally,
It's always so different. Like, this is such a interesting business, like so many different ways.
Everyone's journey is so different.
Yeah. And I didn't know you played football, bro. That's dope. Where did you go to school?
I went to UBC, it's University of British Columbia. Yeah.
Respect. I started a little bit earlier than him. I'm from Canada, and I was on the Canadian version of Sesame Street when I was. It's true. When I was like 5 or 6, I started doing that. It was weird how it happened. Like, this woman was like my mom was having like a dinner party, and this woman was producing for CBC, which is our like channel up there. And she said, like, she saw me and she was like, oh, like, I'm looking for a kid, that can sing and dance and act, and would your son be interested? I think he'd be good for it. My mom was like, I don't know. She was like, you want to do it? And I was like, yeah. And so that's how I started, and then from there I just did like little things here and there. Like, I produced like little videos. Like, I'd get grants and do like little music videos for like my friends that were musicians, and I did a hosting show that was like for teenagers, like that bought like Zit Cream, or like, I don't know, like just like teenage products like earphones and sneakers, and like you like find out which one's the best for the money. And I just did like little stuff like that, and then after that I moved to Toronto, and I was living with a family member up there because I really wanted to get serious. And so I worked up there for a little bit on some Canadian shows. And then I came to LA. I went to Vancouver and then to LA, and then I booked Riverdale. Yeah, rest is history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This question's more for Jordan. So you were on Supernatural for an episode. What was it like having to embody the character of Sam Winchester?
Wow, just bringing it back, huh? So my first ever real acting credit was Supernatural. And I think it's like a rite of passage if you're like an actor from Vancouver, you have to do an episode of Supernatural, or you're like, you don't count as an actor. Because like everybody's done it, they've done like 15 seasons, it's crazy. But the one thing that I remember the most about it was when I was in the audition room, I did the scenes, and I thought they went okay, and then the casting director just looked at me and they were like, how tall are you? And I was like, I'm like 6'3", and they're like, how tall's Sam? He's 6'5". or something. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, maybe I got it on my height. And then so I went to the fitting, and they had me in the exact same clothes that Sam wears. And I just remember swimming in them. Like, he's so much bigger than like you think he is. And he's just huge, And I just remember swimming in them. And then when we got to set, it was really just fun because I was working with Mark Shepard, and he was really great. And it was just a totally fun experience. And that show is so well run. They do such a good job because they've been doing it for so long. So overall, it was just a really fun experience, and I just remember feeling really small compared to it.
Thank you.
No.
I have 2 questions for Jordan. Who would you ride or die for, Vanessa or Cole?
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you putting me in this position? In the end of the day, it would be Vanessa. You know, she's my girl, you know, and I love Cole, I do, and I would ride or die for him, but it's funny because me and Vanessa, I remember my first day on set of Riverdale, and it was the scene where I bust in with all the serpents to the red and black, and Jughead and Tony are in there together, and I kind of confront Jughead for the first time, and that first day on set was my first day on set. I think it was Vanessa's second day on set. And so we had kind of been, we kind of come up together in the show. We've had a lot of experiences together, so I feel like I have a lot of love for Vanessa, and she's like family to me, so yeah. Oh, and second question, here we go.
What is it like working with Cole?
What is it like working with Cole Sprouse? Oh my God, y'all want to know, you guys want to know. Cole is like, I would say he's probably one of the smartest people that I have ever met. He's very intelligent. He knows what he's doing. He has lots of great ideas about the directions in which the show is going and how we should put a scene together. And he really is a leader when it comes to leading on the show. But also, he's just like silly. Like, he's just so silly. He just makes the most ridiculous jokes, and he's just like likes to have a good time. But he's just like a great all-around guy. He's awesome.
Thank you.
Hi. So I think Cole and KJ deserve awards for being able to say you guys' names with a straight face on the show. Sweet Pea, Mad Dog, all the time. So how do you guys feel about, or how did you guys react when you realized your names were going to be Sweet Pea and Mad Dog? Like, is that short for anything or what?
So, I mean, it's so funny you said that because literally, like, that's one of the main things on set that KJ is always fighting for. Like, do I have to say their name in this one? Like, can I just say yo, or can I just say bro, or like he's always like, how many times can I cut their names out of these dialogues? Yeah, it was interesting when I first saw it. I was like, Mad Dog. Like, you know, you get the auditions and like you get the sides, and you're at home and you're like, is this gonna be terrible? Like, what is this? But then, like, I talked to my agent, she was like, no, it's like a really cool show. It's based on, like, you know, like the comic books, the Archie comic books, and like they really like make it, even though these names and these places are kind of like wild and like outlandish, they really ground the show, and everything about it is like very like realistic, and you can see how it would be like a real situation, even though it's kind of crazy. And so I think that's one of the things that they do really well in this show is like taking these like bigger, larger than life ideas and just like making them relatable. And so I'm always impressed by that. But yeah, it's just really funny you said that because I've been there many a time when KJ was just like, you gotta be kidding me. I think one time he had to say my name. When we were there, it was my name, your name. There was like 2 other people. Yeah, Fangs. And he had to say all of them in a row. It's like, Fangs,
Oh, baby
T. Yeah, it's Sweet Pea, Mad Dog. This is what we're gonna do. And he was just like, no, you gotta be kidding me, bro.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think it's the opposite for me. Cole just throws Sweet Pea in like way more than it's in the script. Like he'll just be like, Sweet Pea, come over. I'm like, dude, just don't say my name. Like, just call me over. But no, it was actually really funny. I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but when I got the audition, the character's name was Applejack. I know, right? And everybody was like, the name's Applejack, and they were kind of like, it's like a code name because like it's a really like it's kind of a secret character. They're really secret about the show. So they were like, yeah, the code name's Applejack, and I was like, okay. And then when I got the role, they're like, yeah, your character's name's Sweepy. I was like, is that any better? but I don't know. I think it's kind of funny because I think if his name wasn't Sweepy, I would have done like as much of a job as trying to make him as tough as he is. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see in season 4 what Sweepy's real name is. If you guys remember from the musical episode, he signs his name N.M. on the like musical sheet. So in season 4, we'll find out what his real name is.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question for both of y'all. So, in your opinion, like, who in the cast acts most like their character?
That's hard. Everybody's crazy in Riverdale. Who has most like their character? I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone is really like Charles. Charles. No, he's like. I think he's like Reggie in the way that he's like always a jokester. Like he's a constant jokester on set, and I think that like he really blends that into Reggie really well. And I think that's what makes him such a great Reggie, is that he like is so lighthearted and kind of like a clown on set sometimes. So he's great.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, yeah, Cammy. I'd say Cammy. They're both like very like intelligent, like focused on like their goals, and like she's and also very sweet, and, like just kind-hearted at the same time. So yeah, I'd say Cammy.
Thank you.
What was your guys' reaction when you first booked the role?
So yeah, when I first I went in, and I was already slated to do another show, and so like I kind of went in very relaxed and like comfortable, but I hadn't been back to Canada in like probably like a year and a half, and I really missed like seeing my family and everything like that. And I was just telling one of my good friends about it when I was heading in, and so he was like, bro, and I'm a Christian, so like my friend was like, bro, I'm really praying for you. You get this job. You're gonna get up there. You're gonna get to see your family, and it's gonna be just a great experience. And then in my head, I was kind of like, okay, sure, like probably not. Like 9 times out of 10, you don't get the role. And then I went in, and everything was just super smooth. Like it just felt very comfortable. And then like literally as I'm walking out, they were like, so are you gonna be available like this and this time? And I was like, okay, got it. So yeah, so as soon as I found out like literally like a day later, and I was just so happy to be able to go home and see my family more. Like obviously excited for the job, but like very excited to just go home and like go back to Canada and like get to be around my family. So yeah, I was pretty happy.
Awesome. Yeah, and for me it was like, so I had gone in, I read for Joaquin, I auditioned for Reggie, so I had auditioned a couple times for Riverdale, and when this one came in for Applejack, I was like, I'm not getting this, like they're not gonna hire me for this, because actors are very insecure. And when I went in for the audition, I was the first one there, and then all of a sudden like 60 other guys showed up, and I was like, I'm definitely not getting this role. And I was like, okay, we'll just go in. And I was the first one up. I go in, and I did the scene. I only had one scene. I did it one time, and they're like, great. And I was like, oh, I'm traveling next week. Is there going to be like, are they going to have like callbacks? Is where you like come back and they like kind of narrow down their options. And they were like, oh, they might not do callbacks, so you'll just find out. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just went home. I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm getting this. And then my agent had called me when I was at work, and I worked at this Lebanese restaurant. And what's so funny about that? Like, Lebanese food is delicious. And my agent called me, and she was like, yeah, at Riverdale, and I was very happy. I started crying because I was very excited, and I knew that because the show was such a success, that it would really help my career, and it'd be such a great opportunity to like play this character that I actually turned out to love. And yeah, and then I quit my restaurant job that day. I was like, I can't come in anymore. I'm done. And even at that point, I only had 4 episodes that I knew that I was going to be in. But then Sweetie came back.